Kumusta naman class yung activity 1 and activity 2 ninyo? Confident ba kayo na tama yung sagot nyo?
Ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, doon po ba sa activity 1 yung mga nag-join po nung last online session po, ma'am? Magsasubmit pa rin.
No need na.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Usually po yung activity 1, para lang yun sa mga hindi present. Kasi syempre alam niyo naman na ang sagot. Di ba? Diniscuss
Yes
na.
po, ma'am.
Ayan. So hindi na. Para lang yun actually sa ABOITIZ or yung mga nag-asynchronous that time. Pero yung activity 2, expected ko na dapat kayo lahat ay gumawa. Okay? So, hopefully within this week, may bigay ko rin yung tamang sagot. Parang isasabay na natin siya sa kung bukas siguro or mamaya, try kong mag-send. Yung summative test 2 ninyo, hindi ko pa sinisend kasi gusto ko munang alamin kung pwede na, kaya na. Yung parang ganong setup class. Okay? So, ganon yung magiging type. So, magpe-prepare kayo ng statement of financial position, comprehensive income, and statement of changes in owner's equity. So, anyway, today, we're going to discuss the new topic, yung MELC for your week 5 is discuss the components and structures of a cash flow statement, and of course, prepare a cash flow statement. So by the end of the session, you should be able to identify. By the way, nakikita ba yung fina-flash ko sa screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You should be able to identify each component in the structure of cash flow, solve problems in the cash flow through 2 types of method, the direct method and of course the indirect method. And of course, prepare a cash flow statement using a direct method. Go get your short. Baliktad. Wait lang, may nang istorbo. Buti na lang walang online class itong isa. Ayan. So, for your activities, paki-note na muna. Okay? Do this one, of course, in preparation for your, may mga answer key naman tong mga to. Same pa rin class ha. Be honest, let your guardian or you can ask your classmates, mag-exchange paper kayo to do this activities. Okay? Napakainin mo. You can also do this one. Okay? Yan, yung ilalagay nyo kung, kasi mamaya malalaman nyo yung ibang structure ng, ng cash flow. Is it operating, investing ba ito, or investments ba ito? So dito yun yung activity na sinasabi dyan. Yung effects niya, is there a profit or is there a loss? Nag-decrease ba? Ganon. Nag-increase ba? Okay? Yan. Also, this activity wherein you're going to solve and you need to, of course, present your solution. You will do the cash flow. Okay? So, dito nakalagay na kung paano net income. Ayan. And aside from this one class, gusto ko lahat ito, gawin yung activities. Yan. Hanggang, yan. So anyway, mayroon naman yung answer key dun sa iba. Kaya, okay lang. So sa mga walang answer key dyan, I will be the one to provide. It can be ako ang gagawa ng tawag doon. It's either na ako ang mag-check or I will give you the answer key. Then let's check it together. Siguro pag naka-live tayo, of course. 'Di ba? Pero I make it a point muna na lahat kayo nakapag-submit. Okay? So recorded naman yan, what time, ganito, ganyan. Okay? So yan po ang gagawin ninyo up to page 53. And in addition, remember I told you that we will also do the cash flow statement of the two activities na binigay ko sa inyo last time. Yung activity 1 and of course the activity 2. Okay? Yan. Now, let's proceed to our discussion. So, naisan ko naman na ito sa inyo, class, ha? Baka hanapin nyo ito sa akin. Nasaan nyo lang? Nasa G-class nyo lang. Wait lang. Ayan. Kompleto naman kayo. Ayan. Statement of cash flow. So the statement of cash flow provides information on the sources and utilization of cash during the period. Presentation of statement of cash flow according to activities. We have number 1, operating activities. Naalala niyo yung nakalagay dun sa isang activity kung anong type of activity. It can be operating activities, cash receipt from the goods. Example dito is yung cash receipt from the sale of goods and the rendering services. Cash receipt from the interest income. Cash payments for purchases of inventory, and of course, cash payments for expenses. So anything or any activities related to, a transaction that affects income and expenses, ito yon. Ang activities na doon is operating activities. Okay? Ito yung mga example. Paano nakaka-affect ito? For example, itong number 1, cash received from the sale of goods and the rendering of services. Anyone in Tagalog? Nakatanggap ka ng cash dahil nakabenta ka ng goods or nakapag-provide ka ng services sa customer mo. Anong effect nito, class? Increase in the form of cash, di ba? Asset. Pero sa income, sabi nga income and expenses. There's also an increase in income. Kasi ang kung i-journalize mo to, cash, debit cash, di ba? Amount, kasi naka-receive ka ng cash. And credit, it can be service income, di ba? Lalo na kung services rendered ang transaction na nangyari. So, or it can be sales, kung nakabenta ka. Di ba? So, yon. So, isang sample na lang. Gusto nyo pa bang i-explain ko to? Or kaya nang intindihin? Halos same lang naman. Dito, nag-increase pa rin yung income niya. That is the effect. In the form of interest income. So usually nangyayari ito if you have an investment sa bank, hindi mo ginagalaw. Diba? Or nagpautang ka, hindi nakabayad si customer. Meron kayong payment terms na mag-earn ng interest if beyond 30 days. So may mga ganon. Diba? Next. How about dito, class? When you hear the word cash payments, always ang effect niyan is decrease. Okay? Decrease in cash. Nagbayad ka ng mga para makabili ng goods at the same time, nagbayad ka para nabawasan ka ng cash para makapagbayad ng mga expenses mo such as utilities or anything that you use to operate your business. Okay? Another activities, doon kayo mga iho. You play there, okay? You play outside. Another activities is the investing activities, okay? It is primarily result from the acquisition and of course disposal of long-term assets and other investments like property, plant, and of course, equipment. For example, cash payments for the acquisition of PPE. So I think the PPE is ito yung ginagamit ng mga pang-protective, mga ganun gear para hindi ka mahawaan kaagad ng COVID. Ayan, di ba? So dito, cash payments. Ibig sabihin, nag-decrease. Di ba? Nag-decrease ang iyong cash. Take note class please be reminded na yung, Nako. Sana yun. Please be reminded na itong activity, balik tayo doon sa activities natin. Pag sinabing cash flow statement kasi, ito yung parang minomonitor mo kung saan ba napupunta yung cash mo. Sa investment ba, sa operating ba, mga ganon. Nasaan na ako? Nawala na ata ako. Wait. Hindi, wait for. Balik tayo doon sa yung effects. Para clear lang. Ayan. So dito, ang titingnan mo lang sa effect, kung ano yung naging effect sa cash. Nag-increase ba yung automatic class kapag ang cash mo, kunwari, no, gagawin mo siya ng journal entry. Kaya napakadali lang nito eh. Ang magiging basis mo lang dito is your journal entry actually. 'Di ba? Kapag nandyan, nakalagay yan sa debit, automatic ang increase niyan, ang effect niyan is increase. Increases cash. 'Di ba? Pero kapag nakalagay yan sa credit, decreases cash. Ganun ang transaction. O, example na nga lang dito, payment to supplier. O, 'di ba? Nagbayad ka sa supplier mo, so ibig sabihin nabawasan ka ng cash kasi nasa credit side ang cash nito. Okay? Next. Continue. So, ganun din, cash receipts from the sale. Dito naman, iba. Nag-increase ka dito. Okay? Kasi ikaw naman yung nakabenta ng product. Okay? Next, another activities is for financing activities. Financing po yan. Padilit na lang nito. Financing activities. Primarily result from transaction with the owner and from borrowings. Example, cash received from investment of owner to the business. Ito yung usually nangyayari sa kauna-unahan. Miss Sibayan invested cash worth 300,000 to open a bake shop. Okay? So, di ba? Debit, cash, how much? 300,000. Credit, Sibayan capital. Okay? Dito naman, cash payments on drawing by the owner. So, ito naman yung Mrs. Sibayan withdrew 2,000 pesos for personal use. O, syempre, nag-increase doon ang drawings mo. At the same time, ang counter, so debit, Sibayan drawing or withdrawal, credit, cash, 2,000 pesos. Nakukuha yung class, yung concept natin ng cash flow statement. So automatic minomonitor lang nito yung cash mo. Okay? Kung maganda rin pagkakaayos ng T account mo, mas madali yung mamomonitor. Okay? Ang madali lang to gawin kung naibigay sa inyo yung tamang sagot. For example, sa activity 1, I already give you the journal entry, di ba? Sa activity 2, hindi ko pa binibigay. Tama? So medyo mahihirapan kayo na part na yun. But I'm only going to give you the total just to check kahit paano saan ako nagkamali, saan ako nagkaganito, ganyan. Okay? Sa activity 2, yon. Okay? Kasi medyo sa activity 1, madadalian kayo eh. Kasi you already have the answer key, right? madali nyo na lang ipa-plot yung cash flow statement ninyo. Okay? Pero sa activity, sa activity 1, madali lang. Sa activity 2, medyo mahihirapan kayo ngayon kasi hindi ko ibibigay kaagad. Later ko na ibibigay once natapos na yung cash flow statement ninyo. Okay? Anyway, let's proceed. So, cash receipts on loans. Okay? Lahat ng may receipts, automatic, there is an increase. Okay? Cash payments, decrease. Nasa na ba? Financing activities. Naulit ata to. Ayan. So anyway, naulit ito. So ulitin ko yung mga type of activity. It can be operating, investing, and financing activities. Nature of transaction affect income and expenses. Ito lagi niyong tatandaan. Investing, acquisition and disposal, long-term assets, and of course, other investments. Dito naman sa financing, investment and withdrawal of the owner, and of course, loan transactions. So we also have two methods in preparing your cash flow statements. Okay? The direct method and of course the indirect method. So sa direct method, ganito po yung itsura niya. Ayan. So same lang direct method, una muna cash flows from operating activities. Pagsama-sama mo yan lahat. Then, total. Okay? After nyan, sa baba nyan is, ilalagay mo rin yung what? Yung next. Kung meron kang investing activities, pagsama-sama mo uli, total. Sa baba uli is the financing activities kung meron. Yan. Sa indirect method naman, class, ayan. So, ilalagay mo kung profit. Ano-ano yung mga non-cash items? For example, the depreciation, gain on sale of equipment. Then you need to total it. Changes in operating assets and liabilities. Increase in accounts receivable. Lagay mo. Decrease in inventory. That's why important na alam nyo kung increase or decrease ba yung effect. Okay? Lagay nyo din. Increase in prepaid assets. Increase in accounts payable. Decrease in salaries payable. Net cash from operating activities. Okay? So, it is important to know your cash flow kasi it will determine whether you still have cash to operate the business. Kasi minsan ano ba yan, kala mo lugi ka na, pero kung titingnan mo, marami naman pala ikaw inventory. 'Di ba? Ibig sabihin, meron ka pang, maaring wala kang cash, pero if you're going to check it, marami ka naman palang receivable. Mahirap kung mataas yung payables mo. And yung pala, kaya pala the main reason kung bakit wala ka na palang cash kasi nadagdagan yung inventory mo. Ibig sabihin, marami kang nabiling goods or materials na pwede mong gamitin para makapag-earn ka uli kasi pwede mong maibenta pa. Okay? Wait lang class, sumusubo lang saglit. Yan. So, after you do the financial statement class, you need to analyze. Actually, hindi lang, may mga analysis yan, pati sa income, pati sa changes in owner's equity, i-interpret nyo pa yan. Pati yung statement of financial position, i-interpret nyo lang. Okay? So, a financial statement analysis, ito yung process of evaluating risk, performance, financial health, and future prospect of a business by subjecting financial statement data to computational and, of course, analytical techniques with the objective of making economic decisions. Natin ko lang yung book ko. Sisend ko sana sa inyo yung, yung examples. I hope na meron ako ditong examples. Nakita mo yung accounting book ko. May isa. So anyway, later on, ipo-provide ko sa inyo, okay? So siguro, isa sa mga magiging example ko dito, yung katulad nga kanina, when you're going to look at your financial statement, specifically your cash flow statement, nakita mo doon na wala na akong cash. Bakit kaya wala akong cash? Saan napunta? Doon mo titingnan yun sa cash flow statement mo. Okay? Ay, kasi nag-invest ako. Bumili ako ng mga materials. So for example, in our part, wala kaming cash ngayon. Why? Kasi namili kami ng maraming investment. Namili kami ng inventory. Meaning to say, yung mga harina, ganon. So, doon napunta. What else? Bumili din kami nagdagdag kami ng additional investment. So, ito yung nagdagdag kami ng mga molder. Nagdagdag kami bumili kami ng double burner again. Bumili rin kami ng blender. So, mga ganon. Diba? Bakit kami bumili ng double burner? Kasi pag may nag-order ng Long John marami, hindi kakayanan. Although may larger mania ako, hindi kakayanin. Kasi syempre sabay-sabay ang tinapay na yan eh. Naalsa. Hindi pa pwedeng ma-overalsa. Pangit ang kalalabasan. So ganon, ang example. Halimbawa, kung titingnan mo yung financial statements mo, titingnan mo doon, marami ka palang asset. Ano bang mas marami sa'yo? Yung asset mo, yung liability mo, kumusta? Kasi this financial statement is used, sabi nga dyan, di ba? If you're going to, or you are going to analyze if you are financially healthy, meaning to say, pwede pa ba akong mag-expand? Pwede pa ba akong mamili ng mga gamit? Kaya pa ba? Okay? For example, sa income and expenses mo, kumusta? Net loss ka ba? So usually, sa business, lalo na kung first year pa lang, swerte mo na kung hindi ka net loss. Pero majority yan, nasa net loss na side pa yan. In your marketing, di ba? Nakita niyo naman siguro, first day, kunti pa lang ang inyong kinita. Why? Kasi, yun yung part na mas marami ka pang invest. Kumbaga hindi pa na ma-maximize. At least, kumbaga, konti man or net loss ka man, pero malaki pa yung inventory mo. Kasi namili ka kaagad ng, for example, mas makakatipid ka kasi na bumili ka ng mga bultuhan kaysa sa tingi-tingi. Diba? Lalo na kung food ang industry mo. Kasi you can earn, the supplier can give you discounts lalo na kung bulk orders mo. Okay? Pero kung naman, consignment, okay lang din yun. Maganda rin yun. Wala kang net loss doon. Kasi kumbaga, hindi ka namuhunan. Consignment, meaning to say, supplier just provide you the product, pahala ka mag-sell. Diba? Comparability. Comparability means is one of the qualitative characteristics of a good financial statement. It is the ability of the financial statement to create a basis and allow the identification of similarities and difference between the statements being compared. Kasi, take note, the total number of cash in your balance sheet, dapat yun din po yung total na cash mo dyan sa inyong cash flow statement. Kung hindi magka-total yan usually ang tinitingnan. Kaya be ready sa entrep ninyo, isa yan sa mga titingnan. Okay? Dapat magkakatulad yan, kumbaga incorporated yung mga yan. Pag nagkaiba yan, anong nangyayari? Diba? Aside from that, kailangan mo rin i-compare yung, for example, nakagawa ka na ng year-end financial uh, position mo, statement of financial position mo, kukumpara mo ngayon. Or yung financial statement mo from year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. Ano bang trend? Increasing ba? Decreasing ba? Sabi kung decreasing ba, mag-file ka na ng bankruptcy. Parang nagpagod-pagod ka lang. Pwedeng net loss ka, pero dapat naman yung pagiging net loss mo naman, kunwari first year net loss ka na. Sa second year, kung net loss ka pa rin, dapat man lang nabawasan naman yung amount. Kahit pa paano bumabawi. Diba? So, ganun dapat. So, it is also used to compare. Kung hindi man sa sarili mong business, you can compare it to other businesses na nakapost yung kanilang financial statements. Okay? So, we also have what we call comparison standards. So, intracomparability, a comparison of financial statement for the current period compared with the FS of prior or earlier period. So, for example, business owner ka, may 2020 kang financial statements. Kunwari, tapos na ang 2021. Kukompare mo naman ngayon yung current mo. Kumusta ba? There are times na ang mga businesses gumagawa sila ng monthly financial statements. So doon mo rin makikita kung ay tuwing ganito parang peak season natin to, ang ganda ng ano natin pag ganitong month. There are businesses who do their financial statements quarterly. For example, sa shop, we do it quarterly for BIR purposes. Kasi nagbabayad every quarterly. Mahirap kasi pag di ka nagbabayad sa BIR. Okay? Ayan. So we also have intercomparability, deals with the comparative analysis of the company's financial statements against a direct competitor. Yan. So ito yan ha. That's why ito yung kahalagahan niya. So, sa amin kasi, for example, no, yung nasa kalbo, if you analyze, dati may dalawa doon, may NTENGs at saka may TJs. Ngayon, wala na. So, I don't know the reason why. So, dahil nagsara sila, dalawa siguro ang possible na option. Hindi na kinaya ng business nila. Kaya hindi rin wise class no na for example no, lalo na kung ang labanan ng business niyo is yung price war, pababaan ng presyo, wag ganoon. Kung alam mong hindi kakayanin ng company mo, gawin mong tama yung pagko-costing mo. Okay? Hindi yung tipong nagbenta ka para lang sabihin na mura, pero kung titingnan mo yung costing mo, is lugi ka na. Mahirap yun. Talo ka doon. It's better na you stick to your price. You can explain it to your customer, lalo na ngayon, nag-i-increase na po. Halos lahat nag-increase. Nag-increase ang sugar, nag-increase ang harina. Biruin mo yung isang sakong harina dati 750. Ngayon, how much? 800 plus. Nag-increase ang gas. Nag-increase ang oil. And sabi nila by December, mas lalo pa yan mag-i-increase. So, if you are an owner, for example, sa part namin, dalawa lang option dyan. We will increase the price or we will lessen the sizes. Just stick pa rin kami sa price. Kasi nakadepende rin sa customer eh. Kung ang kaya lang talaga ng customer is 5 pesos, then we will make it a point na hindi rin naman kami malulugi. So we will just decrease the sizes. Kasi dahil nga, di ba, mahal na mga ingredients. Hindi naman pwedeng kung ganito pa rin, nagtaasan na lahat, ikaw same pa rin yung size mo. Pero hindi ka nag-increase ng size, ng price. Hindi naman pwedeng ganon, di ba? So para win-win, As long as hindi nagsasacrifice po yung quality ng product ninyo, you can reduce the size. But still, stick to the 5 pesos. Or, explain thoroughly to your customers the reason. Ahead of time dapat, you need to inform them na mag-i-increase na po yung prices due to the increase of also of your raw materials. Okay? Yun ang nangyayari kung bakit majority of your competitor, mahirap pa kapag ang competitor mo is talang bigatin na class. Mahirap yon. So for example, the abehos, if you're going to compare it kasi you really need to know your competitor. Sino ba yung competitor mo sa area? So for example, if you're going to compare in terms of size, sa bread ng abehos saka bread namin, for example sa buns, although magkaiba naman kami ng ingredients, we don't know their ingredients, they don't know our ingredients. Di hamak na mas mabigat, mas malaki si abehos. Pero sa texture may difference. So we cannot, as much as we want to, as much as we want to meet that size, parang ganon. So hindi pa pwede. Why? Malulugi na kami, class. Because iba nga yung ingredients namin. Diba? Iba rin yung sa kanila. And they are big. Meaning to say, they can get discounts in their raw materials. So they can do that. If you're a small business, do not compete with a big competitor. Why? Malulugi ka, class. Diba? Ito yun ang mangyayari dyan. Diba? Kahit hindi mo natingnan yung financial statement nila Doon pa lang kahit doon pa lang sa product. Pero of course, if you are an investor, the first thing that you need to ask is, where is your financial statement? Some of the businesses give their financial statements. Some don't give their financial statements. Kasi pinakagawa ko na yan doon sa batch nila Nicole. I told them to observe the possible competitor ng mga business nila around their area. Some of them do not have, kasi maybe dahil ang pinagtanungan lang nila is the employee, of course, ang may hawak nito usually is the manager or the mismong owner. Okay? Next, industry standard. Comparison of company's financial statement with the standard average of an industry. Meaning to say, i-check mo, for example, bakery industry. Ano bang trend ng financial statement kapag sa isang bake shop? So you can search sa internet. Di ba meron naman siyang, pag sinabing comprehensive, depende kasi kung comprehensive income yan ng yearly or monthly, matitrace mo na kaagad doon. Anong bang trend? So hindi pala ako nag-iisa. Kung net loss ako ngayon, 2 years or 3 years ako net loss, okay lang. Kasi sila nga din, net loss nga din So hindi pala ako nag-iisa. Tama lang pala. Okay? Kasi sabi ko nga, usually, net loss talaga muna yan. They sa year 1, year 2, year 3. Lalo na kung malaki yung investment mo. Kasi hindi mo talaga mababawi kaagad. Pero yun mo, equipment pa lang. For example, in our case, ano pa lang, yung 12 tray, 1 set, that is already worth 75,000 plus 10,000 shipping fee. Hindi pa kasama yung mga molder na iba. Diba? So yun na kaagad. Okay? So, there are also tools, class, in analyzing the financial statements. These are horizontal analysis or trend analysis. So it is a technique for evaluating series of financial statements data over a period of time with the purpose of determining the increase or decrease that has taken place. It uses financial statements of 2 or more periods. Changes can be expressed in monetary value peso and percentage computed by using the following formula. So peso change, balance of current year minus balance of prior year. So sa percentage change naman, peso change divided by balance of prior year. So just parang nag-divide ka lang. Okay, times 100 percentage. So for example, you have the following data. On the year 2015, you have 420,000 pesos. 2016 is 500. So meaning to say, nag-increase or there is an increase in cash. Kung i-analyze mo yung cash flow mo ha, why? 420 ka lang nung 2015, yun yung natira sa cash mo. Naging 500 ka na. You subtract current year minus 420, you have your 80,000. Kasi ilang percent? So peso say change 80,000 divided by balance of prior year 420,000 times 100 resulting to 19.05%. That is the percentage change. So ganun lang ang pagkuha. Then you will explain. Table, ganyan shows that. Okay. So ito yun, ganito yung pag-express mo. Lalo na kung ano na tayo ha, lalo na kung nasa entrep kayo at ginagawa niyo yun. Okay? Of course, projection pa. Kasi wala pa naman. Diba? So, another analysis or another tool in analyzing financial statements is the vertical analysis or the common size analysis. So, it is a technique that expresses financial statements item as a percentage of a base amount. For the SFP, the base amount is of course the total assets. So, balance of total assets divided by total assets. So, for example, this is the statement of financial position of ABM company. So, how much is the total assets? 1,430,000. So, dito, inisa-isa nila class. Okay? Inisa-isa nila kung alin ba dyan. Actually, madali lang to. Kung ipa-plot mo lang to, i-graph mo. Ito naman, sa presentation, dapat naka-graph to. Okay? Kasi lalo na yung ibang mga panel, medyo hate nilang numbers. Pero pag ABM teacher, panigurado titingnan nila yan. So, meron ka dapat tabular form na nakaganito. At the same time, meron kang nagre-represent just to sum up. Okay? Mas madali kasi makita kung alus ba sa mga asset mo ang mas malaki yung percentage. Okay? So for example, how did you do that? Sabi nga, balance of account. Meaning to say, what is the balance of cash? 500,000. So 500,000 divided by the total assets, which is 1,430,000, you have times 100. Kasi percentage ang inaano natin, di ba? 35%. Next is 80,000. 6%. Ayan. So kung ganito ang gagawin nyo, if you're going to analyze it, based on the, for example, it can be table or it can be based on the data above, cash, parang ang pinaka mas maraming nakakontribute sa asset is cash, having, hindi pala cash, land, having 49%. Parang ganun pa sa i-express mo sa maayos. Don't worry, bibigay ko naman sa inyo yung mga example kung paano sabihin yan na magandang pakinggan. Okay? So, ganyan lang class. So, same as the ginawa sa liability. Balance of account divided by the total. Yan. Ganun din sa owner's equity. So, dito, sa liabilities and owner's equity, di hamak na mas malaki yung percentage ng owner's equity, followed by the, which is 55%. Then sa liabilities naman, mas nangibabaw yung notes payable. Okay? So ganyan po. This is for statement of financial position. In the statement of comprehensive income, the base amount is of course the net sales. Okay? So how much is the net sales? 950,000. Siya yung i-divide mo. Okay? So, same pa rin, balance account, 180,000 divided by 950,000 times 100. Huwag kayong mag-stick lang dito ha. It should be may times 100 pa. Kasi percentage po ang hinahanap. Kaya naging 19%. Kasi if you're going to divide it, 0.19 ang mangyayari niyan. Okay? You need to multiply if you're asking for or they're asking for a percentage. You need to multiply it by 100. Yan. Ulitin ko, sa statement of comprehensive income, ang base amount po is yung net sales. Okay? Net sales, hindi ito. Okay? Next. Another way of or another tool in analyzing financial statements is the financial ratio analysis. Okay? May mga ano rin yan, may mga formula din po yan. Okay? Pati yung kailan ba mako-compute yung return of investment, meron din yon. Okay? So sa financial ratio analysis involves the computation of percentages or proportions using formulas. This analysis is designed to emphasize the meaningful relationship between financial data. So we have different classification of financial ratios. Number 1 is the liquidity ratios. 2 is the activity ratios. These are the asset management ratios. Okay? So, medyo sumasobra na ako pero dahil may time pa tayo. Hanggang 10:30 lang tayo class, whatever it is na matapos natin hanggang 10:30. Kasi if you're going to look at this one, pang week 8 na po natin ito. Oh, you play. Huwag mo dalhin cellphone ko. Ayan. We also have what do you call activity ratios, asset management ratios. Ito ba't na yan? 3, leverage ratios. These are the debt management ratios para malaman mo kung ano pa ba, mas marami ka bang utang kaysa natatanggap mong income. Next is yung profitability ratios. Okay?
Kasi, I have nothing to do.
You play.
No, liliko pa sila. Kung natapos nila liko, kain na.
Oh, sige na, doon na. Oh, doon ka na. Excuse me for that. Oo. Nasaan na tayo? So, under the financial ratios class, yung liquidity ratios is the capacity of a company to pay its currently maturing obligations. Okay? So, ano ba usually yung mga maturing obligations? So, ito yung mga payables ninyo. Ito yung mga current liabilities ninyo. Okay? When you say current liabilities, ilang years lang siya dapat? Class, are you still there?
Isang taon lang.
Yan. No. Iano lang natin, baka nakakalimutan nyo na. So, kailangan, dito nyo matitest whether you still have the capacity to pay for your current liabilities. Okay? I-check mo yan. So, for example, working capital equals, ito po yung mga formula, current assets minus current liabilities. For your current ratio, current assets divided by current liabilities. For your asset test ratio, quick assets divided by current liabilities. You can make, by the way, you can make a class card with all of this formula. Nang sa ganun, hindi na kayo magkakalikal pa kung anong habang formula ng ganito, ganyan. Okay? Yan. And of course, yung activity ratio, this provide a measure of how efficient a business is utilizing its resources. Meaning to say, ikaw ba yung, ito yung may mga, malalaman mo kung natutulog lang ba ang cash mo sa isang bagay. Ganon. Okay? Or na wala kang cash kasi hindi maganda or hindi effective yung collection management, hindi ka nakakasingil. Meaning to say, yung dapat na pinapaikot mong pera, ayun, nandun pa sa umutang sa'yo. Okay? So anyway, For example, accounts receivable turnover ratio equals credit sales. Meaning to say, ito yung nakabenta ka pero nasa utangan pa. Nakabenta ka nga pero inutang. Parang gano'n. Divided by accounts receivables. So it measures the frequency of conversion of the company's accounts receivable to cash. Madali lang ba? Within a week ba na tatanggap mo ba kaagad ang bayad? Within a month or within a year? Ganon, ha? Next is collection period. How to complete your collection period? 365 days divided by accounts receivable turnover ratio. So meaning to say, hindi mo mako-compute itong collection period kung hindi mo muna na-compute itong accounts receivable turnover ratio kasi dependent siya dyan. Diba? So it is the usual number of days that it would take before the company would be able to collect certain receivables. That's why it is important that if you have a customer na mangungutang sa'yo, there should be, it's safer to have notes, promissory note, a note to pay, or a term, payment terms. Okay? Next, so pag sinabang for example sahod, dapat sahod. Ikaw din naman, huwag mo rin kalimutan na maningil. Okay? Pero mas maidipigil pa rin class na meron kayong written, always written agreement. Kasi it can be your words versus his or her words. Alam niyo naman natin, 'di ba, kung sino pa yung may utang, siya pa yung galit sa panahon ngayon. 'Di ba? So, 'yun. Next, inventory turnover ratio is of course cost of goods sold divided by inventory. It measures the number of times the company was able to sell its inventory. So ito yung malalaman natin kung kakabili ko lang ng limang sakong harina. After 2 days, ubos na kaagad. Kaya mahalaga na matitest mo rin yan. Make sure din na nag-akma or swak naman dun sa, kasi usually for example kami we have a list on how many breads na nagagawa sa isang araw. Naka-note doon for example pandesal 15 kilos assorted breads, 20 kilos or pandesal 25 kilos ganito ganyan. So alam naman namin na sa isang sako is may 25 kilos sa harina. So syempre iba pa yung mga asukal ganyan. So, malalaman mo na kaagad, may estimate na namin kaagad kung ilang harina ang nakukonsume namin per week. Okay? Nang sa ganun, hindi rin ma-over bili ka ng mga inventories mo. Ito yung sinasabi kong natutulog, dun mo ma-determine kung natutulog ba yung pera dun sa certain product. Kung sari-sari store ka, malalaman mo na kaagad kung anong mabenta dun sa store mo . So for example, syempre una pa lang na may tindahan ka halimbawa. Makikita mo na yung trend na lalo na kung mabusisi ka pa. For example, ako medyo mabusisi ako . Alam ko na kagad kung ay sa ganitong oras mabenta ang ganito, ganitong oras mabenta ang ganyan. So for example, sa shop na lang, every Sunday mabenta ang pandesal. Doon talaga. So we make it a point na tuwing Sunday maraming stock. And since alam ko rin kung anong schedule, dapat tinuturo tong yung schedule sa applied econ. Pero hindi ko na pinagawa sa mga estudyante ko. Pero sabi ko naman pag ituturo ko sa kanila. Yun yung doon mo malalaman kung kailan ba mataas ang demand ng mga customer. Kailan ba ang schedule ng pagde-deliver ng supplier? Nang sa ganun ma-estimate mo na kung ilang ingredients or ilan ang pwede mong i-stock. Kasi mas maganda yun na nakaplano nang maplano mo rin yung budget mo. Okay? Next is yung letter D, days in inventory. 365 days divided by inventory turnover ratio. It measures the number of days will take before an inventory will be sold. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo class, maraming company meron silang tinatawag na clearance sale. Mga ganyan. Mas maganda kasi na wala kang natitirang inventory. Sabi nga, di ba, usually kung gusto mong mas makunti yung mabayaran mong tax, much better na mas marami kang liabilities. Kasi binabawasan niya yung income mo. Or mas marami, hindi ba liability, mas marami kang expenses. Kasi binabawasan niya yung net income subject to tax. Yan. Okay? Kasi kung marami kang natitira dyang mga inventory, there's a possibility din na masira, manakaw. Usually sa mga company, nagbabuffer sila to 3%. O kung sa tindahan, kunwari, yung iba kinakagat ng daga. Yung iba nababaha. Diba? Kung naalala niyo pa dati, yung marami na over, sabi nila, wala daw tayong stock ng rice. Kaya kailangan natin mag-import. So may nangyaring news noon na wala daw NFA. Tapos biglang nabalitaan na hindi naman pala gano'n, meron lang palang nag-hoard. Unfortunately, yung nag-hoard na yon, binaha ata, nabulok. So, ito yung mga possible reason kung bakit mahalaga na alamin natin. Okay? Kung kailan ba or ilang days ba ang kailangan kong hintayin para mabenta to yung mga product na to. Why? If you know the schedule, kung kailan nauubos ang materials mo, kung kailan mabilis mabenta ang product mo, makakatipid ka rin dyan class sa transportation cost na tinatawag. Mapaplano mo na kaagad Diba? Kung alam mo rin kung in terms of income and expenses, kung alam mo rin na, lalo na meron naman tayong mga fixed, diba? Fixed na expenses, na alam mong every month dumarating, such as yung utilities natin. Alam mong every month na may babayaran ka. Mababudget mo na kaagad yung pera mo, class. Okay? So that is the significance. Another is the letter E, number of days in operating cycle equals collection period plus days in inventory. So it measures how long it will take to transform its inventory back to cash. Leverage ratio, provide a measure of the extent a business uses debt financing or leverage. Sabihin, break even ka lang ba? Or mas nang babaw yung debt o utang. Next, a debt ratio, debt to total asset ratio equals total liabilities divided by total asset. For the equity ratio, total equity divided by total asset. This measures the proportion of assets financed through equity. Hanggang, naubos ko na. So more on activities na tayo. Next is equity ratio, total equity, total assets, measures the proportion of assets financed through equity. So see, debt to equity ratio. So ito lang class, mga formula, total liabilities divided by total equity. It indicates how much debt is used to finance the assets relative to the amount pertaining to the owner. D times interest earned ratio equals earnings before interest and taxes, interest expense. Class, huwag kayong matatakot Kasi kung mapapansin nyo, yung computation lang naman, ito yung kinatatakutan ng iba. Kaya ayaw mag-ABM. Kasi marami daw math. Ayun lang naman yung math natin. Pwede ka pang gumamit ng calculator. Divide, minus, plus. Diba? Multiply. Ayun lang. Kailangan nyo lang ng magandang, kailangan nyo lang i-analyze ng maayos. Okay? i-interpret ng maayos. And the only way to do that is practice. So since matatapos ko na lahat ng topic natin for the first quarter, more on practice naman tayo. Okay? Anyway, so D times interest earned ratio, you just need to get the earnings before interest and taxes or interest expense. For the profitability ratio, this refers to the company's ability to generate earnings. Okay? Nag-generate ba? So how are we going to determine that? You need to compute for the gross profit ratio. And how you do that? Gross profit divided by the net sales. It shows the relationship between gross sales and cost of goods sold. For B naman, net profit ratio, net income after tax divided by net sales measures profitability after considering all income and expenses. And for C, operating expenses to sales ratio equals operating expenses divided by net sales. And for D, return on investment ratio. So D1, return on asset equals net income after tax divided by total assets. And D2, return on equity equals net income after tax divided by total equity. And for the last one, E, asset turnover ratio is equals to net sales divided by total assets. So, more or less, yung mga diniscuss sa inyo class is just the terms. You can appreciate it if we will apply and of course, do the different activities that I'm going to give you. Okay? Yeah. So, let's go back to our activities. Yan. Please be honest in answering your activities kasi majority naman of the ayan. What do you call this? Given naman na yung mga answer keys, so just be honest in answering it. If you think na mas tama ang sagot nyo, just PM me ahead of time. So since I already discussed also the topic for our week 6 and 7, sasabihin ko na rin kung ano yung pwede nyong gawing activities so that you can do it ahead of time. Wait lang. Tinitingnan ko kung hanggang saan mag-end yung quarter 1 sa FAB2. Ayan. Dito, bank accounts naman. So, until week 8 yata. First quarter, week 9 pa rin. So, hindi ako magdi-discuss next week kasi na-discuss ko na supposed to be yung topic natin sa week 8 and 9. Pero, i-discuss ko yung milk dito, yung kasunod sa next. Yan. Pero before that, kasi i-discuss natin yung sa check. Ayan. So, hanggang dun lang. Hanggang week 9 lang pala yung 2. Itong activities na to, yan. Yung dito, yung for week 9, tsaka yung for week 8, tsaka for week 9, i-discuss ko. Sige, I'll try to discuss it next week. If not next week, since yung pang next week natin, na-discuss ko na kasi, sa susunod na week na lang. Titingnan natin yung calendar din. Baka kasi mabitin tayo, class. Okay? So, for now, yun muna ang gagawin. And for the kung sinisipag naman kayo, pero wag muna kasi meron pa akong ibang activities eh. Next week ko na yung sasabihin yung sasagutan ninyo dito sa susunod na week. Okay? May katanungan ba, class? Yan. Yung gagawin yung activities dito next week ko na sasabihin. Okay? Kasi nakadepende kung sa bilis din ninyo eh. Basta yung sinabi ko dito, yun ang gawin ninyo. And be honest. Okay? Make sure your parents also check. And start doing the compilation of your portfolio. Okay? Para hindi rin kayo matabunan. So, feeling ko madidiscuss ko talaga yung last two na topic. Yung different forms para ma-determine niyo kung ano bang itsura ng isang check, mga bank statements, ano ba yun. Diba? Kasi very significant din yun. Usually nga, if you're doing, if you do the journal entry transactions, ninonote nila kung ano yung check number, yung mga ganon. Okay? So, may question po ba? Class?
Ma'am, wala na po.
Wala na. So, later on, please muna i-review yung parang ginawa natin sa activity 1 and activity 2 because I'm going to post na your summative test number 2. I hope by that, ready na kayo. Okay? So, i-practice yung pag-analyze, yung mga sinabi kong mga keywords na pag ganito, debit si ganito, credit si ganyan. Kasi may mga ganon. Meron talaga yung magsusolve kayo. Okay? So, that's all class. It's 10:33. You still have 1 hour. So, it's either you can review, use the time to review. I hope nag-screenshot kayo. Part of your portfolio also is your attendance in every session. Okay? Review the topic that we have discussed last week in preparation for your summative test number 2. Or you can also do the activities for this week. Yung pag-prepare ng mga cash flow statements, etc. Okay? So that's all po. Goodbye. Open your camera. Mag-screenshot na. Kung meron na. Hindi pa ako nakakabili ng lipstick. Wala nang halagang lipstick ngayon. Oh, don't forget na mas maganda yung mga screenshot nyo, may time, may date. Ganun kayo mag-submit sa akin. Yun ang pinaka-legit. Goodbye, class. You may. Stop ko
Thank
lang.
you, ma'am.
Goodbye.